Hello, my name is Curci, and this is the review for Wolfenstein: The New Order. If anyone tries to tell you that this game is bad because it is just another Call of Duty knockoff, you have my permission to slap them. This game is so much more than just shooting up enemies. It has a great main character that is thrown into a very interesting world filled with lovable characters. None of these things are true for the latest installment in the Call of Duty franchise. Wolfenstein's world can be generally summed up by a simple question: what if the Nazis won World War II? This game not only has you getting that question answered, but puts you in a world in which the Nazis have been ruling for some time. You play as Captain William Blazkowicz, who starts out battling in World War II in 1946, and long story short, he gets injured and is in a vegetative state for 14 years. After he awakens, he joins a resistance to continue the fight against the Nazis. Sure, the game is about killing Nazis, and the game's combat mechanics can really make that all the more fun, but as I said before, it is so much more than that. A lot of FPS games nowadays very often sacrifice story and characters for the action because it is very easy to do that, and those games really aren't the ones you'll write home about. Wolfenstein: The New Order decides to go the extra mile, and it does it well. The game has a very compelling story that is brought together by fantastic characters, and it isn't just the main character, a side role, and a villain that is good. I found that nearly everyone I came across had a unique personality, and I connected with them. From the simple yet strong Max to the lovely Anya, this game did a great job of making me care for all the allies that Blazkowicz came across. Even the main villain of the game was well executed. He had a very creepy persona to him and made me instantly hate him, and even some of the lesser villains were well done. Without these awesome characters, the story of Wolfenstein would have fallen flat and really not all that interesting. The combat system, as I stated earlier, was another thing that the developers did well. The game gives you the freedom to play the way you would rather play, either going guns blazing or take a more stealthy approach. You're going to have those moments where you'll have no choice but to shoot up the bad guys, but the game doesn't force stealth sections down your throat. The game's alarm system is done through enemy commanders, and the concept is simple: kill them before they spot you and call for backup. But the game doesn't have a moment where you fail if an alarm is raised. It's also probably a good thing to note that the stealth approach can be pretty fun itself. The game also has the ability to dual wield guns, which wasn't something I started out doing, but as the game progressed I found myself dual wielding the awesome weapons of Wolfenstein a lot. There are also a few variations in the enemies that will require a particular strategy to deal with them, and it helps retain the challenge of combat. One thing I didn't like about the combat was the absence of hit markers. It may seem like a silly point to make, but when in combat, hit markers instantly tell me where I'm getting hit from, so I can locate enemies quicker or take proper cover. Without these hit markers, I found myself spinning around a lot trying to find the enemy, and as my health decreased, it became harder to see, which eventually led to a lot of my deaths. It was a slight annoyance. Another thing I wasn't a huge fan of was the need to hit a button to pick up ammo instead of just running over it. It just seemed odd for a first-person shooter and was a tedious chore as I found myself picking up large Gatling guns that I didn't want, or picking up health that I was trying to save, as I just ended up mashing the X button to pick up ammo. The perk system is a really dumbed down version of what you would expect to see in the leveling system. Instead of saving up points to spend on a skill tree, you complete challenges to unlock perks that are automatically applied to your character. It was a very simplistic system that to me was a nice touch. There was one thing that this game clearly didn't need, but I still would have liked to see, and that was a multiplayer mode. While the game was fantastic without it, I feel like the game doesn't have much replayability value, and the lack of a multiplayer was a missed opportunity. But Wolfenstein: The New Order was fantastic, with barely any serious negative points to it. It's just a fun shooter with fantastic characters that make up a cool story. It is certainly a game worth a look, and a game that actually surprised me. It went above and beyond what a lot of today's shooters present, and it was nice to have played it. Wolfenstein: The New Order will please fans of the franchise and fans of first-person shooters. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.